Hi everyone, welcome back to Curriculum Mapping with G Suite. Richard here with an updated video on deploying your internal curriculum mapping tools Google Doc add-on. Today we will be covering connecting your app script to Google Cloud and deploying your add-on to your domain. So at this point, you will have already run some successful tests as an add-on. So now we want to make this add-on available to the rest of your organization. So to do that, one of the things you'll notice is under Resources, you've got a Cloud Platform project. And if you just do this for the first time, you're not going to have your project here. So in other words, you are not yet associated with a Cloud Platform project. So that's the first thing we need to do is create that Cloud Platform project. So we can go ahead and close that. And you can head on over to console.cloud.google.com. And when you get there, one of the first things you can do then is simply create a new project. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. Again, you would give it a name, curriculum mapping. I'm just going to call this one sample. And you can make it available in your organization. And notice you have a limited number of projects that you can have with your account. But you should have plenty to take care of this one. Once I'm in my project, I'll notice that I have my project name, a project ID, and a project number. So the project number is what you want to plug into your Cloud Platform project. But this won't be possible until you've first created credentials. So the first thing you need to do is, before you can associate, is you'll need to create credentials. Then you can plug in that number and click Set Project. So if we come back to sample, the first thing we want to do to create these credentials is to get the G Suite Marketplace SDK. So this is an API that we need to enable. So that's the first one that we want to enable. And we'll click Enable. And as it's enabled, we would go to Credentials. And we also need to configure the consent screen. So the first thing we probably do is click this Configure the consent screen, and we would say this is an internal add-on, so it's available just to our organization. So it's internal only. We'd put in our name of our application, the logo, an email for support. In this case, you could just use the admin email of your curriculum mapping tools. And here you would put in your top level domain. And then you just need to fill out all the ones that are kind of mandatory. So for your application homepage link, this could be just the link to your school's website. And this could be the link to your school's privacy page, privacy policy page. And then here, this is an optional piece, and you would save that. After you've configured your consent screen, you can then create the credentials. And what that looks like is you would select web application, just give it a name, and then you can leave the rest of this blank and just click Create. You can then copy your project number and associate it to your project here and hit Set Project. And when you do that, it'll appear up here, and that's where you can continue this process. So I'm going to go ahead from this point on. I'm going to click on my project that's associated with this one. So after you've enabled the G Suite Marketplace SDK, the next API that you need to enable is the Google Drive API. You can see here I have it enabled, but you would simply look for it up here. And all you simply need to do is just enable the API, and you don't need to do anything more with that. And what this API is for is it allows you to have the add-on transfer ownership of the unit planners once they've been created. So that's why that API is needed. But from this screen, you'll want to then continue with the G Suite Marketplace SDK. And again, you would have already created these credentials. So you'll see your credentials located here. And then you want to go ahead and actually configure the add-on itself. And you'll have like a project number here. You can disregard this integrate with Google button. And you want to give your add-on a name. So in the past, this was the name of the app script, but notice I have a different app script name than my actual add-on. So I just gave my add-on a name and a description, and I've enabled the individual install. Then you're going to have to sort of add some images that are required for this to work. So at a bare minimum, you do need a 128 by 128 image. And what I've done is I actually created a folder in my admin folder called images, and I simply created placeholder images that I can go back and replace later. But the important thing is that they're the right size. So I just simply created a square or a rectangle that met the size requirements, and I took a screenshot of one of my tests, so I could incorporate a screenshot at the right size as well to include. So those you might want to even do before you go to this deployment process, so you have all of your images ready to include. And then you want to include a URL for your terms of service. Again, this could probably just point to your school's website. This is all internal. So, and further down, you then need to ensure that you have the proper scopes added. So these are all the scopes you will need for this add-on to work, and where you find them is actually in your app script. So if we come here under File and Project Properties, here are the scopes. So you're going to have to list these all one at a time, just a simple copy and paste, and you can add them here. And then the next thing is we need to click this button, this Google Docs add-on extension. Check that. And then we need to put in the project ID. And the project ID is located in a similar location. So we go to Project Properties of our app script. And I'm sorry, it's actually the script ID. So this long thing here is what you would want to copy and paste there. And then your app script needs to have a version number. So if we go here, File, Manage Versions, you can kind of add a new version. It'll automatically assign a number, and you can describe any changes you make. And this is important for when you make updates or additions. You simply, when you want to redeploy, you would simply change the version number and then hit publish again, and that way it'll take all the updates and everyone else in your domain will receive the updates. So that's kind of how you control the version of your add-on that's out there. And then you want to, under visibility, it's only going to be visible within your domain, and you save those changes. And then when you come down to publish, if this is something that you just want available to a specific portion of your community, I highly recommend making it an unlisted application and then just sharing the URL with those who should have it. So just think about who the audience is of your add-on and decide if it's best if this is an unlisted application or if it should be available to everyone. And then you can fill in the items here, more details about the add-on. So this is essentially the catalog in the Chrome Web Store for the add-on. You can see my little application banner. This is just a placeholder, and then that's There's a screenshot that I uploaded of the right size. There's a few optional fields here, but your developer website, again, could just be your school's website, developer email. And again, because this is internal, the stakes aren't so high to have this completely filled out. Just wherever you have required fields, you're going to want to put them in. You're going to have to include a tip once it's installed. Select a category that it belongs in, and then hit update. And when you do that, it will update your add-on or publish it for the first time if you haven't published it yet. And then it becomes available to your users to install. So I hope this sort of helps you sort of understand the process of deploying that. What I've typically done is included a link to the add-on on my curriculum mapping, the website, so that way everybody knows they can go get the add-on there. If it is visible to everybody in your domain, then the place you could find it is in any Google Doc. So if you go into any sort of Google Doc and you click add-ons, get add-ons, then on this navigation button here on the side, all of your internal add-ons will live in your domain folder, and you can install it from here. But again, that's only if you make it visible to everyone. So if it's unlisted, you'll definitely want to put a link to it on your curriculum mapping Google site. So that's it. That's sort of the process for getting your add-on available to everyone in your organization. Thanks for watching. Bye.